After a long and hard day of once again feeding the birds in the park, Nikki decided to head home, maybe drink some hot chocolate and then go to sleep. Even though the sunfall had only just begun, she felt tired, didn't really know why. Not that she really cared, after all, without a job, she couldn't do much during the day anyways. Nikki headed outside to the balcony and watched the sunset. Beautiful color play has always fascinated her, even as a kid. When the last sunrise had vanished, Nikki decided that she needed some sleep, went back into her small apartment, and slipped under the blankets. This night, however, should be different from the ones she had had before. Nikki woke up and saw that she was suddenly on her balcony. The sun had already risen again, and she wondered why she had slept for so long. Since she didn't really have much to do anyways today, she went back in and decided to sleep again. It would still be a long day after all, but no. She couldn't sleep. Normally, Nikki could just sleep everywhere and for as long as she wanted to. It didn't even take her 2 minutes usually to fall asleep, but this time she just lay there and nothing happened. She didn't fall into sleep and she didn't even feel tired anymore. After trying to fall into sleep for almost an hour, Nikki decided to just go outside and catch some fresh morning air. But when she opened her door, she suddenly realized that she did not end up in the corridor that was leading down to the street, but rather it was an empty space with doors arranged in a circle. All these doors looked different, and she didn't know what to do. What was the purpose of this room? She had never seen it before, and it was certainly not part of her apartment. Curious as she was, she decided to go into the first one, which was a steel door with a red ball inside it, and under the ball a little opening. Peering through the opening, she saw nothing but darkness, but decided to enter anyways. Nikki found herself in a disoriented room with faces staring down at her from the walls, each of them looking the same and sticking out their tongues. Nikki wondered why she had been brought here. What has happened? She noticed that the floor looked like some kind of reflection of the walls, only smaller and viewed from a bird's eye perspective. Even though all of this scared her, she decided to move on, knowing that this was not reality. This could not be reality, but rather one of her dreams. As she approached a long hallway, she noticed a 4, which was written on the ground. Upon inspecting this 4, she noticed that it was written in blood. Normally, this shit would have scared her, but in her dreams, she didn't even care. She did not care whose blood it was or why there even was blood here. She only wanted to explore further, and so she did. More numbers appeared on the floor in front of her, insanely large numbers, like 84,141,089. Smaller ones, like 36. And ones that didn't even fit in her own field of sight. What was all of this? Was it some kind of mathematical room? But she had never dreamed of numbers before. Nikki was used to having rather strange dreams, but none in which she was so awakened, in which the rooms were constructed in such an irrational way. No, there was nothing here, just the numbers. 9, 99, 9. And bigger ones. She saw a small opening, but it only led to something that looked like a river, enclosing the room she was in. Aimless, she continued to wander around, and for some reason she saw more 9s. 9s followed her all the way, but she didn't know where to go. Then she met a bunch of 1s and 0s leading into a room. When she followed them, she noticed that they ended at a colored flashing door. She couldn't resist entering it. But where she ended up was not the same room or even the same dimension, it seemed. She ended up in a black place, barely seeing the hand in front of her eyes. The only thing illuminating the place were some small lamps. Street lamps. Some were turned on, some were turned off, and she couldn't do anything about that. So she just followed the light, hoping that it would lead her somewhere. Maybe somewhere more friendly. But after a while, she got lost in this imperishable darkness that surrounded her from everywhere. A walking lamp appeared in front of her. And without further thinking, she talked to it. The lamp started to get brighter, illuminate more of the ground around the two strangers. She felt a weird sensation as the light totally engulfed her and made her blind for a few seconds. After that, the lamp was gone. But she had found something. In front of her lay a little card, and all that it said was lamp. As she continued to stare into it, a sensation took over her, and before she knew it, she had become a lamp. She had become a lamp. Nikki continued to walk, since there was no point in staying there. There was no one here, and after all, it was an empty, big empty area with practically nothing. Being a lamp is actually not that bad, she thought, while just continuing to walk throughout the darkness. At least, now she could see better. Then she met the weird faces again. Faces on the wall, yeah. It were the same ones as before. and there was a door again. Noticing that she wouldn't need the lamp anymore, she simply thought about returning to human form, and she did. Well, that was easy, she thought as she approached the door and entered it once again, only to end up in a little enclaved, well, what was it? A little enclaved island in front of some water. It was the same river as before. She couldn't get out of here, she knew, so she went back into the door and continued to walk. Where would she end up? She didn't know. As she walked further into the darkness, away from the flashing door and from the weird faces on the wall, Nikki noticed that it had become darker again, and she felt, yes, she felt that she wanted to return to being a lamp again. It was such a nice feeling finally being able to see through this darkness that she had wandered around for so long. Nikki continued to wander off into the darkness once again, until she suddenly hit a lamppost. Nikki woke up. How long had she been sleeping? It was morning. What a strange dream, Nikki thought, as she went back into her apartment, got dressed, and then left it once again to feed the birds in the park.